Okay, so how's everybody doing? All right, then this is the painting the poles segment, and let me just quickly preface. I was usually try to, keep the momentum going here, but unfortunately I was down for a few days. I had a kidney stone. Okay, so here's the little devil right there, the kidney stone. Can you imagine a tiny stone pebble like that, no bigger than the little bead I used on this insulator on this utility pole model, bringing a healthy, strong man to his knees for 2 days. Incredible, isn't it? And it's amazing how fervently we pray when we're in pain, isn't it? Man, I'll tell you, I don't wish that on my worst enemy, if I have any, because it is the most brutal, painful thing that I think that you can ever go through. It's just, and I just thank God and for all those who prayed for me, because it passed in 24 hours, and man, was I ever down for the count over that one. But anyway, so poles. I'm going to paint all these poles flat black first with XF1. I'll probably add some green to it. I like the green because the green, I mean, there's a lot of green in the trees, there's a lot of green in the groundwork. I like to keep the continuity of my colors, like move them around like on a painting. Like that's why this model looks the way it does, because if you really look at it closely with some of the shots, you'll see that there's a consistency in colors used overall. And then the second coats I'll use over top of the black is probably Sky Gray XF19 and then Flat White XF2. These are three colors I use quite a bit. Well, actually black and white are not really colors, but anyway, so those are the three base colors that I apply. Paint the whole unit flat black, then hit it with highlights with gray and then a little bit of white at the end for some of the little smaller parts. Okay, so here's the poles now painted brown black. Sorry I said green earlier, but you can still use green. I use green too. I just happen to have some really, really dark rail brown that I had mixed up, which is really just, black, like a bottle of black with 15% brown or 20%, 18%. It doesn't really matter. Just so that you turn black into a color. Like black is not a color. I don't use pure black in any of my models. If you look outside, like really look, like there's no black anywhere. Like it's like even shadows are not black. So it's best to add color to the black in any situation. The color might be just whatever mood you're in or what is suggested by the overall colors in the layout or whatever, So that's what I do. Okay, so now the second color that I'm going to use is Sky Gray, right? This one, XF19 Tamiya Sky Gray. And I mix this 75% isopropyl alcohol, 25% paint. Really thin it down. You don't have to be exact. Like you can keep on thinning it more. It doesn't really matter. This paint is very good quality pigment and it takes thinning, breaking down really well. So anyway, you can see that the base coat as earlier was just black brown. That was it. And then now you can see the effect you can get with one color, and this is Sky Gray, and I just spray down lightly about 6 inches away down from the top, like the light coming down. Just visualize the sun coming down and hitting the top. Go down the pole a ways. Don't worry about black showing through, and then you move in closer with less paint. You back off on the paint on the trigger on your brush, and you move in real close to the transformers so that it becomes a little more opaque. And you back off if you want it to be a little more transparent. Okay, so here's the third stage now with the off-white overspray. Just a tiny bit of red in the white, just to knock it down a bit. Or, you can use black if you want, but just try to get away from the pure opaque white. So I basically overspray these, focusing in on the transformer areas and the insulators and the very tops of the beams and so on. Try to catch some of the conduit pipe. But just be kind of random. Like don't paint the whole pole. Just hit areas and dust it over. Like stay back with the airbrush. come in close to these transformers with less paint on the gun if you can. And you get this kind of overly highlighted kind of look. If you compare it with stage 2 prior to this, you'll see, oh, they look a lot brighter now. I like the other ones. Well, they will look like the other ones when you put an umber wash over this. So you come forward in your airbrush layers, paint, you go from dark all the way to light, and then you come back with washes, toning it down. And apply a wash. In this case, have some Model Air Vallejo Burnt Umber, number 71.040. Burnt umber. It's got a little bit of red in it, which is fine too, right? A lot of poles have a bit of red in the aged factor. And so I just begin with some straight from the bottle and then some water. Try to get this all in for you. Just mix up just a wash. Just play around with it till you think you got it right, and then try it out. And just flood it onto the model. Bit of water on the side here. See, this is why you don't use isopropyl alcohol. If this was isopropyl alcohol, it would just start to eat right through this underlayers, right? These 3 stages. That you don't want that to happen. So there's just a first wash. All right. You can try different colors if you want. See how the right here, this like where the glue maybe sort of pooled up a bit earlier, it's sort of smoother there. Well, that makes for a nice, you know, sort of a different effect on the pole as well, right? Like those are just anomalies that happen that work in your favor, right? This looks really strong now, but it'll actually fade quite a bit. And when you go and do another layer on top, it'll blend in well with the follow-up washes. The key is lots of thin layers, right? This is maybe a little bit too red for my liking, but that can be remedied on another wash. I want to get a little bit of this into the transform area because they are sort of reddish brown there from the weather and rust. But it's the combinations, the light, the subtle combinations of colors that really make the model at the end of the day. Just the variance of you know, those earthy tone type rust colors. Meanwhile, the camera's all splattered with paint, right? Okay, so here's, I added some, okay, so there's this NATO black and this raw umber, or sorry, burnt umber. and natal black. So the burnt umber has a bit of red in it. If you don't like the red, then add a bit of black to it. I actually like the black. It's more of a raw umber color. And you know, this particular color here, you can never go wrong with it. You can put it on anything. And it's just a really nice shadowing wash. It's working out pretty good on these poles here. I'm liking this pole. Simple little pole, right? Beginning to look pretty good, I think. Okay, so this is stage 4 now, and I applied 2 water-based colors. Well, actually, natal black and burnt umber by Vallejo model there. And I just made washes, 2 separate washes, just mixed them back and forth. Like this one, you can see there's a little bit more burnt umber, which has a little bit of red in it, and then add a bit of black, which makes it a little more raw umbery. That's all really raw umber is black and burnt umber, and then varied the color just a little bit. Kept lots of fresh water coming onto the transformers if I didn't want it to build up too much, and just wash, 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 right? Layer after layer, put it on the stand, let it dry, but put another wash, and then just call it quits right here for now. And then I'll do a bit of highlighting and a bit of dry brushing now and fixing up a few of the flood marks, and they should be good to go. Okay, so thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day.